Yeah, so I just need like the best 5 minutes. So
Okay.
we'll just talk and then
Good.
we'll see what it is. No, to start, Eric, man, first, just thank you for letting me come in. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. One thing I noticed right away is you seriously had the best conferencing voice ever. Like, it was like so quiet, but everything, like the kid heard you.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good because I know that's something that I've seen people struggle with. Like, they're conferencing, but
Super
everyone,
loud.
and everyone's in, you know. Another thing I wanted to mention, even, you know, before we kept going, was I felt like there were many times you let everyone think. So a couple times those kids, quick hands, you gave everyone a chance to think. I had a couple questions. What about that problem did you like, the actual problem that you gave the kids?
Yeah, I think the thing that I liked the most about it is that it allowed the kids, so one of the things that we started talking about was, we've been working with multiplication and division, but I think it gave kids an opportunity to solve the problems alternatively without having to use the multiplication or division. So at the very end, we actually went into how do you use multiplication and division to solve these problems. So, on the one, it was, how can I get 32 divided by 8? Some kids did draw pictures. Some kids did, reason it out. But some kids also, I tried to get them towards the end to think about 32 divided by 8. So what happens when you divide 32 divided by 6? Oh, there's some left over. It doesn't figure out. So that's what I really liked about it. And that's sort of leading into what we're talking about, the next.
Did any kids do it mentally?
Yes.
So how many strategies total were there? You said mental, divide.
Mental, divide, pictures.
Okay.
There was a picture one. And then sort of, I don't know, like a logical reasoning type one where they just they didn't do any work. But they maybe wrote out, like 6, 6, 6 or 12, 12, 12. But they didn't add, they didn't do 12 plus 12. They just kind of logically did it.
How did you think the students did in general?
In general, pretty good. Yeah, I think that they did a good job. I think the hardest part was having them understand the problem from the beginning. I had...
Did you find yourself doing a lot of front loading?
The only thing I said beforehand was I said, okay, let's talk about what the baker uses boxes of different sizes to carry your goods. This one holds 12 cookies, this one holds 4.
Mm-hmm.
I just said that so they could understand it. I still had 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids who were really struggling to understand that a box held 12 cookies. So from the beginning, I think the rest of them just kind of took off and said, okay, I know this is the case. So I was able to sort of help those 12 or those 7 kids just kind of, okay, so 1 box of cookies is 12 cookies. So 2 boxes of cookies is how many? 3 boxes of cookies.
So do you think that there's a protocol or a methodology that you can just kind of put into the beginning to kind of ensure that? Like,
yeah.
So
It
is there
probably
like
would
an
be
initial, like pre...
It would be good to maybe, I think I really want them when I do the Mars test to just kind of have to get used to, like, if I can't figure it out, then I have to try and figure out something, right? Like, I don't want to have, for the problem solving aspect of it, I feel like sometimes I front load it too much, and then it's like I'm giving them, like if I would have said, okay, now, how many cookies are in 2 boxes? Oh, 24. I gave them an answer.
You just gave the first problem.
Right. How many cookies are in 3 boxes? 36. I just basically gave them answer 3. So I really wanted them to have to think through, like, okay, I'm getting it. And like I said, there was one kid, actually, it was an interesting situation where he put 1 box of cookies, 1 box of donuts, 1 box of muffins, 1 box of bagels. And I was like, why did you put that? He's like, oh, because when you add those up, you get 24. And then he was like, oh, wait a minute. It's 24 of everything. And so I'm hoping what I told them to do at the end of it was to say, go back and check your whole work. And I'm hoping he would have been able to figure that out just by going back and checking. So,
yeah, one thing that I've used or I've seen is if you sometimes do the problem yourself? Did you do
Yeah, I
the
did.
problem yourself
Yeah,
beforehand? And then sometimes that better helps determine like how much is too much, how much is too
You know,
little
and that's
to
why
say.
I wanted to, there was a part of me that really wanted to be like, okay, so does everybody get what it's doing? Should we, like, I even thought, like, I could draw a cookie box with 12 cookies in it. Okay, here's one box of cookies. But I really wanted to try and do that. I think what would have been a good, like, thinking back, I could have had the kids just read that top part and talk about it with their, talk about it with a neighbor just for a minute to be able to say, okay, do you get what's going on? But even just looking at when I was doing the problem, I sort of needed to do the problems to be able to understand, what was going on. So, but I think that would have been a helpful strategy to be able to use.
I agree with you totally. One thing I kind of wanted to get to too is, do you feel like they knew strategies to start with? Because I think when I was watching it, as the lesson went, like it was cool to see them.
Yeah.
They definitely had stamina.
Yeah.
When you asked them to talk, they were really talking about math.
No, they were.
It was awesome, and they even were using math words. But I was noticing like there were several kids, like for example, the kid that sat here, and I don't even know if that's more of a working. He just doesn't work. But like once I told him
to draw a picture,
then he was like, oh.
Yeah.
No,
so
I
you
don't think
think
maybe you can put something up or what?
I think that would be a really good idea to have some sort of like, if you're stuck, start with a picture. If you're stuck, like something to be able to like give them kind of, even if they had like, you could call it like strategies in your pocket or something, where they just had 3 strategies, because we could probably think of like, try operations with it. Draw a picture. Those probably, even those 2 right there would be good starting places.
Yeah, definitely for this one.
For this one, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. So if you were going to begin again, what do you think are some like reasonable steps to ensure everyone has access to that problem? For example, say a Chris or the kid that drew, all 4 or whatever.
I think maybe even the day before, you could front load by saying something like, we're going to be talking, like at the end of yesterday's class, we're going to be talking tomorrow about some problem-solving strategies. Mm-hmm. Let's say that you are, you might come across part of the problem tomorrow where you have, you don't know what to do. Let's think of 2 strategies right now, if that's the case tomorrow.
So you're saying like an actual lesson about
like
what
a
I do
short
and stuff.
Yeah, and then